Well, hey there, and welcome back. This is Cynthia Vargavisser, your modern day mystic, and we're talking relationships. Today, in particular, we're talking about boundaries, how we can create stronger boundaries, and how wishy washy boundaries or watery boundaries create ouches, they create hurt, as well as miscommunication. So, if you'd like, please give me a call. We can talk about your boundaries or your ouches. All you have to do is dial into 657 383 0608 and press 1 if you'd like to speak with me. And if not, but you still have a question, just hang out in the chat room and give Ms. Tana Newberry a quick shout out. Ask your question there, and I'm happy to answer that on air. So what we were talking about are the different ways that we can create boundaries and how we grow up with certain boundaries that we don't really need to adhere to. And then we also have very messy boundaries that we grow up in that we take from our childhood and then we apply it into our adult life, which means that we apply it to our current relationships. We apply it to our social circles. We apply it to our work, and it doesn't match. And the reason that it doesn't match, not just because it's not you, but it's old and it doesn't apply in that dynamic. So like I was talking with Hadassah, there are so many ways that we can go ahead and get your boundaries nice and strong. Because here's what happens: if you think about a really strong boundary, we could talk about a fence. And I actually like backyard fences here in Oakland because you can't get any more specific than where your backyard ends than your own fence. That's a perfect boundary. The boundary can be, and your fence could be anything. I mean, I've seen some pretty gorgeous ones, right? So we have one we have a mended fence. And, we have some ivy that's growing in, but we always make sure to trim back so that we can actually see what's going on in our backyard. Because we don't want anything. We don't want any rodents or anything hiding in places that don't need to be. And we like to have a neat backyard. There are other fences back there that are absolutely gorgeous, and they are made out of fantastic wood, and they create serenity and privacy, and it is definitely their backyard, right? There are some that are cyclone fences, and you can actually see through, but you can also see that that there's their side of the fence and there's your side of the fence, and that's another boundary. And then you have creative boundaries. I live really close to Berkeley, and there's this one fence that is made out of, hatchbacks. So if you think about the old, I think they're Toyota Tercels, and they had these crazy hatchbacks. They stacked the hatchbacks one on top of the other, and it created like this really beautiful fence that no one would ever think of, and it's a creative way of recycling, and yet we totally know exactly what their boundaries are. So if you think about this, if you have your own personal boundary that's that clear, think about how much energy you'll save because you'll know, oh yeah, those are not my weeds. That's for the neighbor, and I just need to trim my side of the fence, and they're not my weeds. And think about that in your regular life and how much energy you'd save and how much happier you'd be because you know that is what's clearly your stuff and what's someone else's stuff. So tell me what you think, or let's talk about your boundaries at 657-383-0608 and press 1 if you'd like to talk with me. Right now, I actually have a caller. Right now, I have a caller. It's Sandy from Ohio, and she's
Hello.
live. How you doing, Sandy?
I'm doing fantastic.
I love it. You sound so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How can I help you today?
I want to know what you see for me for love coming up, or what do I have to do to, try to bring that in? Do I need to change something? Do I need to do something? I've tried working on myself, and I feel I'm ready, but I want to know what anybody else thinks.
That is so cute. It's so cute. And the reason I say it's really cute is that you have been working on yourself, and it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. But I will tell you this: you're in a in an interesting place where you want to make change. Change is happening in your life, but they're not the changes that you want to have. And you want to change things in your life that are not changing. So it's kind of like, does that make sense when I say that?
Yes,
So
very much so.
Yeah, so it's kind of like me saying, I want to have dinner, I just don't want to have that dinner. And they're saying, well, but that's the only dinner we've got. And you're like, I'm hungry, but I don't want that dinner, but I want dinner. And this is what, and you can't control dinner, right? I love that I always talk about food. And that's what's going on. So what's happening is that you've got changes going on in your life, and you don't want to, I won't say you don't want to deal with them, but they're not pleasant, and they're not moving fast enough. And so then you're looking and go, hey, I've been working on myself. Now I want a relationship, and that's not happening fast enough, which is really funny, right? And
Yep.
so I'd like you to know is, one is, let's recognize this, right? Let's recognize that there are things going on in your life that are not moving as fast as you want it to move. All right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so once we can recognize that, and we just called it out, what happens is you can go ahead and just put the appropriate amount of energy towards that. Because what was happening at the moment is that you weren't putting any energy to it, which is irritating, so you're putting energy to not putting energy to it. Okay? Okay,
Yes.
so now that we know, so what I'd like you to do is go, okay, so this is a change that I can't control. So I'm just gonna. I won't. It's not that I'm going to ignore it, but I'm not going to get frustrated with it. I'm just gonna let it. It's just kind of like, getting that funky stuff to go down the sink. You just gotta let it go at its own pace. And
I'm
just know
not
that you
going to
just work good.
acknowledge it.
Well, it's important to acknowledge
But,
it and then let it go, and just go, oh yeah, there's that crud
okay.
again, and then let it go. Oh yeah, there's that crud again, and let it go. Because what
Okay.
happens is that you're spending a lot of energy pretending it's not there.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So if you
Yes.
acknowledge it, then it's the appropriate amount of energy, which is, oh yeah, there it is, and then move on.
Okay.
All right? Oh yeah, there it is,
Okay.
and then move on.
Mhm.
Okay? Now, once you do that, here's what's going to happen. You are going to have more energy to start looking for love. And you're also really funny because you kind of want love and you kind of don't want love. What you do want is you want flirtation, fun, you want coyness, you want courtship, but you're not so sure you
Yeah.
want the other stuff. So let's just say for right now that you want courtship and romance, and then let's not worry about what happens after that. Okay, so
Yes.
one step at a
Okay.
time. Okay, so you're a lovely person. However, you're looking for someone to come on in without you throwing out a line. So there's no way you can go fishing if you got no line,
That's
right?
true.
Even if
Yes.
you have a fishing pole, you need a line. And you can even
Mhm.
have a line without bait, but you still have to have a line. Because if you have bait, it's just really harder to catch, right? Catch that fish.
Right.
Okay? So all
Right.
you have to do is now it's time to throw out the line. Okay? And here's how you throw out the
Okay.
line, which is, got any friends?
Yes. Yes. Matter of fact, I'm
Okay?
going out here in just a little bit.
Good. And then you just say that, hey, you got any friends? And be really coquettish about it. So you're flirting with somebody, and just so you know, it's okay in your case to flirt. To flirt, and it sounds really strange, but in your case, it's really okay to flirt with women as well as men, because you got to get into the habit of flirting. And flirting is very, just so you know, my idea of flirting is having a playful banter and being very focused on somebody that makes them feel special and just a little bit uncomfortable, right? That to me is
Okay.
flirting. So it doesn't.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is that you're not leading someone on. You're not asking for a woman for a date. But if you can get into the practice of that kind of playful banter, then what will happen is that it will translate over to the men. And if you have playful banter with the women, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go, I know just the guy for you, because they're actually
Yeah.
vetting. Okay? So you got to throw out the line, and that's all you have to do. So it doesn't have to be huge, but you got to throw out the line.
Throw
Okay?
out the line. Yes.
Yeah. You only
Yes.
have two things to do. You acknowledge the crap that's in your life and go, oh, there it is, and then let it move
Mhm.
along. Um,
Okay.
I mean, and when it needs to be tended to, go ahead and tend to it, but you don't need to
Right.
give it any more attention than what it deserves. Okay, and just know
Okay.
that that sludgy part of your life is going to take a little bit more than 2016 to get through. So now that you know the lifespan of your change, it gives you some relief, and you can just go, oh, I only have 6 more months. Oh, in 5 months you'll be gone. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So, so do you have any questions about this right now?
No, that sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, it sounds like something to do.
It
That's a
is something
challenge.
to do. It is a challenge. And here's the funny thing, you are very project oriented. So if you think of this as a project or, a kind of a yeah, if you think of it as a project and you can break it down, you're going to have a really good time and not be concerned with the outcome. And it's like I said, it's just throwing out the line that you're going to that's going to get you going to the next place. And if you promise yourself to be diligent in working on this, it's not going to be very long before you start creating a new group of people, and from there you'll have what I would consider dating, but you're going to consider social.
Okay.
Okay, because you and I have two different ideas of what one is and what the other is, and so there you go.
Fantastic. Thank
All right,
you. Thank you for your time.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much for calling, and have a really good time with it. Okay.
I sure will. I'll
Okay,
have to let
great.
you know.
Please do.
Thanks.
I'm so nosy. I'm always like that. Please call and let me know how it goes.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
great. Sure. Take
Have a
care.
wonderful day.
You
Hmm.
too. You too. Gosh, I love having amazing callers. If you'd like to call in, please feel free to do so. 657-383-0608. And just so you know, what I just did with Sandy is what I actually do with one-on-one clients. What we do is that we just sit and we talk. Even though intuitively I know where we're going, it's really important that you are the one that sets the pace. So we have you come in, we set up, we talk about what it is that you say that you're looking for. Then you and I do a little bit of work to hone in on what you're really looking for, and then we come up with some very practical things, little pieces of what you can work on so that you can see results. And then from there, the possibilities are endless. It's kind of like in chess. The opening is always the same, and then who knows what happens? Who knows what happens after that? But it's the possibilities are infinite. However, the groundwork is what needs to be very concrete. So. Let's see. So we just talked about that. What I'd also like to talk about is we talked about the family dynamic and what's really important to have the boundaries. Let's go back to Hadassah and talk about that, because I have 5 things on how to create boundaries so that so that it can help you get through your day. They're all very short and very simple, and then from there. I'd love to get some feedback in the coming weeks after you do this homework to see how it has changed your life. So here are 5 things that you can do to create boundaries, and there are so many more, but let's start with 5. That's a good number. So the first one is that you can draw physical boundaries, and I actually have a class on this, and where you really do create physical boundaries. You draw a line and go, you know what? No one goes farther than this. And if you don't know this as well, I'm a martial artist. I do an Indonesian martial art, and that's the first thing we talk about too. Is that we create a line, a boundary, so that we know we know where our safety is, and we know that when someone crosses the line, that there are things that need to be done, right? So think about this. Create a physical boundary. You can actually, if you think about doorways, closing the door. I love when people say that they have an open door policy, but that they can't stand that they don't have any time to themselves. You can have an open door policy with closed door times, right? it's okay to make your bedroom your sanctuary and close the door at a certain time. My mom used to, my poor mom, I love her so much. My mom had very little personal time, very little boundaries. She had a lot of personal responsibility. But when I saw a Harlequin romance book in her hand, I knew that she was going to take a bath and the door was going to be closed, and that was her boundary. That was her physical boundary. You can also do boundaries where you can put tape on the line, tape down on the floor, and there's your physical boundary. It sounds really crazy, but there are so many ways to create physical boundaries. The other thing to do is then we have energetic boundaries, and that takes a little bit of practice, but it's very simple, and it's actually an expansion from a meditation. So, if you know the white light meditation, the white light meditation is it's also known as the meditation of protection. And if you think about a meditation of protection, what you're doing is you're creating a boundary. What you're saying is, all the stuff that is going to create stress for me or strife, keep it out. Right? Here's my personal bubble, and I'm happy to help you with that meditation. I actually have a meditation like that on MP3. All you have to do is Facebook me, and I'm happy to send you the MP3. I also dropped the ball on sending out a CD, but I have CDs. I'm happy to send them to you as my gift if you would like that meditation as well as others. Now, so let's go back. So you have that energetic boundary. You have that white light protection meditation, and now you take that energy and you create an energetic boundary. And it's just one step further. So you're taking your energetic bubble with you. Let's just say you're going to work. Or actually, what I love to do is a lot of people do this when they get in their car. They get in their car and they say that they have the white light of protection around their car so that they get to work safely or things like that. Take that principle and apply it to work. Apply it to all the places where you feel that you don't have the same boundaries as you do when you're at home. And that's how you create an energetic boundary. Another way of doing an energetic boundary is that you have a memento, and in that memento you have an intention, and you say, "Okay, you are my guardian," and only have people pass you my little momentum of protection, and unless they really need something. So those are energetic boundaries. The other thing that creates great boundaries is clarity. And how do we create clarity? Is that you start off your day with intentions. All right. So how we do that is you start your day. It doesn't have to be the very first thing that you do. What you want to do is you want to wake up, maybe get your cup of coffee or tea. Maybe you do the things, brush your teeth. It doesn't matter. It could be the very first thing that you do in the morning. Then what you want to do is you sit down and you set off and do your intentions. A lot of people in real estate, they just call it their mindset, right? They just get their mindset for their day. I like it. However you want to pose it is great. Some people put stuff up on their mirrors, which that's what I do, and it reminds them to set their intentions for the day. So you set your intentions, and what that does is when you set your intentions, it helps get rid of a lot of that the clutter thoughts. And once you get rid of the clutter thoughts, or at least have them at bay, what happens is you have created a boundary, right? Clutter thoughts, if you believe in the law of attraction, if you have clutter thoughts going out, guess what you're attracting? You're attracting people with clutter thoughts in, and there are your distractions to the day. So that's how you start the day. The next thing that you want to do is you want to finish your day with reflection. So just like I said with Hadassah, is that I told her before she walked out the door is that she congratulated herself, and that is a form of reflection. And you could do it that way. You could congratulate yourself. I love celebrations, and if I could celebrate and have like just one M&M as I celebrate, that would be fantastic because that's your little ritual, right? But it could be anything. You could go, you could do it before you leave work. You can do it before you go to bed. I think a really good time is to do it before you fix dinner, because if you think about dinner, it's the last meal of the day, and and it's also usually the most quiet meal, the least rushed meal. Um, and and then it sets up your evening, right? So you want to finish your day with reflections. And then again, I told you about the meditation. So let me go back to the 5 things. One is physical boundaries. Draw a line. The second one is do your meditation. And I told you about white light the white light meditation, but there's also an expansion meditation, which is similar to what you do when you get into your car. So you have 2 meditations you can, at least 2 meditations that you can go from. The third one is you take that energy from your meditation and then you create energetic boundaries, right? The fourth thing is to start your day with intentions. And then the fifth thing is that you finish your day with reflections. These are all the things that help you create very strong, healthy boundaries. It helps you stay very clear in what your intention is for the day, and it also keeps you on what my Swami Mami likes to say is on purpose. All right. So I would love to hear back from anyone who takes these 5 things about boundaries and see how it changes. Now, after talking about boundaries, I've been thinking about this relationship show. I love it so much. And the reason I love it is that people really do want to find partnership and community and love. But there's also a component that I would love to bring in as well. And Tana, if you have a moment, I would love to get your feedback on this. So
well, I'm here.
Thank you so much. So I've been talking to Dee about this, and I've talked to a couple other people, and so many people have talked about all the things that they want to do. Sometimes they'll talk about the stuff, the really bad relationships. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about people calling in, asking about people of interest, and the session would be called, the segment would be called Match Made in Heaven or Match Made in Hell. What do you think?
Love it. Love it. It's kind of like that show on, I forget what channel it's on, but it's called Love, Lust, or Leave It, or something like that, where they change their style, and then they have to decide, like, do we love it, do we lust it, or do we just be done with it? And I think it's a really great idea to sort of size up people's situation and be like, do we hate it or do we love it?
Right. And it's exactly, and actually, Tana, that's exactly what I was thinking, because a lot of people say they want a relationship and they really don't. There's nothing wrong with having a lust time frame, right? Where you're just having a really good time and feeling stuff out. And that's okay. And so then, of course, every relationship that was supposed to be a relationship ends up being a match made in hell. So I love it. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have a monthly match made in hell. And I would love for you to participate in it, Tana, because it's so much fun. And I'm thinking about inviting Dee as well, because she's the crazy maker when it comes to that. And we could really get in and have a good time with that. So let's talk about that. So I am calling it, for sure, we are going to have Match Made in Heaven, Match Made in Hell starting in May. Sound good?
Awesome. As your producer, I approve.
Yahoo! I'm so excited because I was a little bit worried about that. So Tana, I wanted to thank you on air for doing the work that you do. I believe you and I have a great relationship, and I wanted to talk about that as well, because this is what it's about. It's about relationships. What I really appreciate is that intuitively or practically, I believe it's a combination of both for you, is that you work well within what my stress levels are, as well as what my desires are for getting better. And so you take that into consideration, and then you stretch me. And you do it in a way that's really loving and kind. And I don't know how you do it, but you're really good at it.
I just super, super love what I do, and I feel so honored that people want to play in this space with me, because it is fun, and it is playing, when you get on the air and you do radio, or you're building a spiritual business, or whatever. There's a lot of things that I really love to do, and when I get to share the space with someone else, it's even better.
Yeah, and I'm really glad, because I think about it, and I don't believe that there's there's no way. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's someone that can actually banter or play off everybody. And so it takes a really special talent. I believe that you actually can do it with just about everybody, which is way better than I can do. So thanks a lot for that. And I love the way that you blend the practical with the silly, with the spiritual. I mean, yesterday, what was it we were talking about yesterday? Psychics Gone Wild?
Oh my God. I have to tell everybody about this. So before I produce the shows, I go on and I choose the tags that I'm going to, to attach to the shows. And I type in the word psychics and it wants to autofill to Psychics Gone Wild. I told Cynthia, I said, I'm going to put a Psychics Gone Wild tag on your show today just to see if it creates any hotness,
Yeah, and then I responded as well. Then I'll do my show with my top off, and I do. I have a body built for radio.
Right. We'll all take our tops off and we'll all listen. Although this show is usually airing sometimes during people's work hours, so if you're doing it at work, please probably don't take your top off. Take your shoes off and pretend it's your top.
I like that as well. Or
gosh.
Just let your hair down in a certain way. I know, but I think it's really funny to think what Psychics Gone Wild would look like. I mean, in my imagination, it would be pretty amazing. I do have to believe.
I'm gonna have to just search, whoever's using that tag and listen and see what the heck it is. So.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking, man, I want to be a Psychic Gone Wild too. I have no idea. I hope, I have no idea. But it does remind me that we play this game, DNI, and it's called INI, which is INI is short for illegal and inappropriate. And what it does is it keeps banter physical and it keeps everything fresh. And we make sure that we do silly things, but that doesn't hurt other people. But a lot of fun. So I want to bring it back to today's show. I'm so grateful for having the relationship show today. Remember, we were talking about boundaries and hurts. Actually, I was calling them ouches, and that this show is here for relationships. I'm happy to help out with relationships in any way, shape, or form, that you can always call in. Also, that there is a space to do one-on-one if you'd like to work on relationships, and that relationship can be with someone in your family, in your workspace, or or with yourself. Just know that we can do this one-on-one. We actually can do this in a group setting as well. Feel free to text me or message me if you would like to get those 2 meditations that I talked about when we talked about the 5 things to create boundaries. Just get on my Facebook page. It's Cynthia Farkavisser, the Modern Day Mystic, and I'm happy to send that MP3 out to you. The last thing I wanted to tell you is that you can definitely get a hold of me through my website, which is moderndaymystic.com, which is modernday-mystic.com. It has been an amazing Friday with you all. It's always a thrill to be here, and I wish you all an amazing weekend. Please be kind with yourself. Remember to have a really good time. It is all about celebration, celebration of self, celebration of your body, celebration of our emotions. It's an amazing thing to be a human being. We will be back on Monday. Angel Heart for You radio channel has some great readers. We have Linda Grindell, who does damage with the soul. We have Cher, and we have Miranda. They're all amazing people. I hope you listen to them as well. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Take care. Bye.